Let's talk about how you open Mathematica, create a new file, save that file, and get that file named correctly, and then saved again and submitted to MyGCC once you've finished the assignment. To open Mathematica, you may see a shortcut on the toolbar down at the bottom of your screen. There may be a desktop icon. If you have neither of those, then just hit the Windows key on your computer. This is Windows 8.1. I've changed some of the settings, so yours may look different. This will also work in Windows 7. Just start typing Mathematica. Whatever settings you have, then it should go ahead and automatically begin searching and pull that up. You can also scroll through your installed programs and find it that way, but just typing Mathematica, at least for me, is a little bit easier. Hit enter once it pulls it up, or just go over here and click on the icon, and it'll begin the program, and you'll see some sort of welcome screen like this. This is for Mathematica 10.2. Other versions will be similar. You don't have to see this screen every time you run the program. You can uncheck the Show at Startup box, and I will do that for my own computer. You're going to be clicking on New Document, and if you've unchecked this box, then it'll automatically default to just showing you a new document and get to work right away. There is a cloud feature in Mathematica 10. I'm assuming it'll apply to Mathematica 11 and beyond as well. If you'd like to sign into that, you can. You could save your files there. I don't know what other features they have. Saving it to your local computer is probably fine, although if something happened to your computer, then you would want to make sure that you had those backed up somewhere. So using the cloud as your backup is one possible option, but you don't have to be signed in here. You don't have to use that feature. So click on New Document, or again, it may jump right to this screen when you open Mathematica, and then you'll start typing your input. So I'm just going to do 1 + 1, get 2. We'll talk more about entering commands in Mathematica in another video. Once you have your assignment completed, then you need to save it with the correct name. So you're going to go over here to File, and actually I should have said don't wait until you've finished your assignment to save it. You want to actually do that as the first thing. So click on File, tell it you want it to save, and then go to the desktop, and you want a correctly named file. So for instance, this one that I have right here, Bancroft, Eric, space Mathematica 1 space, that's an acceptable file name. I'm going to go ahead and just replace that file that I created earlier. The formatting and other guidelines are on my Mathematica page on my personal web page. Just click on this link, Mathematica on the side. It'll take you right here. And scroll down. There are the installation instructions if you don't already have those, if you don't already have the program installed. Some other introductory videos, some from Mathematica, a couple of documents from professors at other schools that were at about the right level for what you need when you start. Some of these other guidelines, I'll go through those in other videos, but the guideline that I want to emphasize right here is submitting it. You're going to make sure that you have the file named correctly. So just like I showed in that example over there, last name, first name, Mathematica, and then the assignment number. If you're working on an assignment where multiple people can pair up, should just be pairs. If there are 2 people on your assignment, then last name, first name for the first person, and then the word and, last name, first name, Mathematica, then the assignment number. If you don't like spaces in your file names, that's fine. You can replace those with underscores, or you can get rid of them altogether if you really want to. But make sure that your last name shows up first as the first thing that we see in that file name. It makes the grading go much faster. When I look at your file, when I download it, I want to be able to know just by looking at it without having to open it up whose file it is. And then once you have that done, I'm just going to click Save. I already created that one. You won't typically see that message. And then as you go through and work on the problem, make sure that you're saving it periodically. I've had many students in the past, they're working on something and then Mathematica freezes up, or their computer crashes, their battery dies and runs out, and something doesn't get saved. So make sure that as you finish things, go ahead and save it as you go along. Even if you're not quite done with one part of a problem, go ahead and just save it. Make it a habit to save things periodically. Just click on Save over here, hit Control S, and make sure that you're keeping that saved version current. Also, in the newer versions of Mathematica, there is now an undo feature. So if you delete something that you didn't mean to delete, so for instance, if I really wanted that 1 + 1, I realized, oh, I just deleted it. In the past, Mathematica hasn't given you a way to undo that, which was really annoying. You had to be particularly careful. But now you can just click undo a couple of times and it comes back, just like the other Windows type programs that you're used to. So once you've got your file completed, then before you submit it, you should go under Cell here and click on Delete All Output, and that's going to remove those output lines, leaving only the input commands. This is going to make your file smaller, more compact, which is easier for me to download and then deal with later on. And it also allows me to see a fresh version of our output and make sure that everything's working just based on the input commands and not something that you did in the output picture, for instance. There are ways to manipulate the images if you're doing like a plot command. So I want to make sure that everything's working just from the code that you've entered and not from some post-execution manipulation that you've done. So make sure that you delete all of the output. Again, that's under Cell, delete all output, and then come back over here to File, tell it that you want to save it again. And if you'd like to see what I'm going to see, and you should go ahead and run this, go over to the Evaluation menu and click on Evaluate Notebook. What that's going to do, it's going to start at the very top of the file and go through and evaluate each line all the way down. And that's what I'm going to do, or the grader is going to do when we're grading your file. And so if you want to see what we're going to see, go ahead and evaluate the notebook and make sure that everything looks all right. If you've entered commands, if you're jumping around in the work and entering commands in different orders, then you may find that, oh, I was basing this command off of an output I was getting up here, but that's not actually how it's going to work out. Just make sure that everything looks the way that you would expect it to. And then once you've done that, again, delete the output, go over here, save it, and then we're going to submit the file to MyGCC. So I'll go ahead and just close it out. You'll see this screen. If you want it to just exit completely, you can check this box right here. If you're going to be working on something else, then you may want the screen up and just click on New Notebook. It's also a little bit faster if you're going to be opening up another file to keep the program running like this. Anyway, whatever you want to do with that, we'll just minimize that for now. And then in MyGCC, you should see something that looks like this. You'll see an assignment with Mathematica, whatever, as its name. Click on that. And you may or may not see these instructions if I remember to put them in there for your particular year and class. Now click on Upload a File, and this is going to be the same as uploading a file for any other course that uses MyGCC, so you may have done this before. Click on Browse, then go to the folder. I've just got it on my desktop here. Now click on that and say Open. You can also, instead of clicking on Browse, if you have a file open in Windows Explorer, you can go ahead and just drag and drop that file to this area over here, and it'll go ahead and insert it there. The label and the description, you don't need to enter anything for those, and you shouldn't be entering anything there. If you type in something for the label, like Bancroft, Eric, for instance, then it's going to look like the file name has whatever you've typed in here for the label, but that's not actually the case. When I download the file, I'm going to see whatever name it had on your computer. So make sure that you've named it correctly on your computer before you've uploaded it to MyGCC, and you don't have to put in anything for a label or description. You just say add the file, and it'll add it. You can see it right here. Now, in MyGCC, there's this option, so if you're finished, turn it in. And it sounds like you need to click that to turn it in, but you don't actually have to. So if you've uploaded the file, then it will note the time that you uploaded it. And when the assignment closes, then it will automatically submit whatever file you have uploaded at that point. The benefit to not clicking the turn it in is that if you realize later on, oh, I made a mistake, or there's something I forgot, I need to go back and change that, then you can just delete that file, upload another one, or you can say edit this one. I don't think for a file, yeah, it's just the label and the description, so you wouldn't be doing anything there. But you can completely delete that file, add in another one, and go ahead and make those changes on your own. If you go ahead and turn it in, then I have to go back and reopen it before you can make any changes, and that I may or may not get your email in time before the assignment closes. So I would say for this class, I would prefer that you don't turn it in. If you're taking other courses, go with whatever your professor wants. I would say don't turn it in, just so that you can go back and make those changes more easily. Now, what you will notice if you don't turn it in, then it will automatically submit it once the late period closes and that assignment's closed for good. And so it'll look like you didn't submit your file until, let's say, the late period here is going to be 11:55 p.m. So it'll look like you turned it in at 11:55, but Mathematica remembers the time that you turned it in, and it will let me know that the file was uploaded before the late period started. And so you won't be penalized for that. I go through and manually add in any late penalties, and so I'll look at that before I penalize you. And then once you've got that done, then you're finished. And again, if you need to go back and make any changes, just delete it and upload it.